In the heart of a sprawling estate just outside the bustling city of Evergreen, a wedding that promised opulence and forever after lay in ruins. The venue, a grand ballroom draped in silk and adorned with crystal chandeliers, stood eerily silent. Rows of white chairs, tied with satin bows, faced an altar where wilting roses scattered like forgotten dreams. At the center of it all, a magnificent wedding dress, ivory lace cascading into a train of embroidered pearls, lay crumpled on the marble floor, abandoned as if its wearer had vanished into thin air. The air still carried the faint scent of champagne and desperation. Miles away, on a dusty backcountry road flanked by golden fields and whispering pines, Leo Maxwell gripped the wheel of his weathered blue pickup truck. At 35, Leo was a man shaped by life's quiet battles, broad-shouldered from years of carpentry, with calloused hands that built dreams for others. His dark hair was tousled, and his hazel eyes held a depth born from loss. Today, he was racing against time, the bed of his truck cradling a meticulously crafted dollhouse for his daughter Lily's 7th birthday. It was a miniature masterpiece, tiny rooms with hand-painted walls, a swing on the porch, and even a secret attic compartment. "Come on, old girl," he muttered to the truck as it rattled over potholes. "We've got a birthday girl waiting." The sun dipped low, casting long shadows, when Leo spotted her. A figure in white, stark against the rural backdrop, thumb extended in a hitchhiker's plea. Her dress was torn at the hem, mud-splattered, and her veil hung like a ghost from her disheveled auburn hair. She looked like she'd stepped out of a fairy tale gone wrong, beautiful, but broken. Leo's foot eased off the gas. His mind raced. Was she hurt? In danger? Or just another scam on these lonely roads? He glanced at the dollhouse in the rearview mirror, thinking of Lily's expectant smile. But something in her stance, the way she hugged herself against the chill, tugged at him. With a sigh, he pulled over, dust billowing like a curtain call. The question hung in the air. Would he open the door to this stranger's storm? The truck's door creaked open, and Leo leaned out, his voice steady but cautious. "You all right, miss? Looks like you've had a rough day." The woman, Isla, though he didn't know it yet, froze for a moment, her emerald eyes wide with a mix of relief and wariness. She was breathtaking, even in disarray. High cheekbones, full lips painted a faded red, and a grace that spoke of worlds far from these dusty paths. I just need a ride," she stammered, her voice soft but edged with urgency. "Anywhere away from here. Please." Leo hesitated, scanning the empty road. No cars, no signs of pursuit. "Hop in," he said finally, nodding to the passenger seat. "But I ain't got all day. Got a delivery to make." Isla climbed in, the dress rustling like whispers of regret. The cab smelled of sawdust and coffee, a far cry from the perfumed limos of her old life. As they drove, silence stretched, broken only by the hum of the engine. Leo stole glances, curiosity gnawing. "Name's Leo," he offered. "You got one, or we playing mystery guest?" "Isla," she replied, staring out the window. "Just Isla." "Well, just Isla, what brings a bride to the side of the road? Cold feet or something more?" She tensed, fingers twisting the fabric of her dress. "Something more. Let's just say the altar wasn't my happily ever after." Her tone was evasive, but her eyes betrayed a storm brewing beneath. Leo chuckled lightly, trying to ease the tension. "Fair enough. I ain't one to pry. But if you're in trouble—" "I'm not," she cut in too quickly. "Just starting over." They rode on, the conversation halting but intriguing. Leo shared snippets of his life. Got a little girl, Lily. Turning 7 today. This dollhouse. Built it myself. She's gonna flip. Isla's face softened at the mention of Lily, a flicker of genuine warmth breaking through her guard. But as the miles ticked by, the question lingered like an unspoken hook. What, or who, was she really running from? Leo felt it in his gut. This passenger carried secrets that could upend his simple world. The truck pulled up to Leo's modest ranch-style home on the outskirts of Willow Creek, a town where everyone knew your name and your business. The house was cozy, with a wraparound porch and flower boxes blooming with wildflowers, Clara's touch, preserved in memory. Inside, the air smelled of fresh-baked cookies, courtesy of the neighbor watching Lily. "Daddy!" A whirlwind of curls and giggles burst through the door as Lily launched herself into Leo's arms. She was a pint-sized force, freckles across her nose, bright blue eyes inherited from her mother, and an energy that lit up rooms. "Hey, Munchkin," Leo grinned, swinging her up. "Got a surprise in the truck, but first, meet Isla. She's joining us for a bit." Lily tilted her head, staring at Isla with unfiltered curiosity. "You look like a princess, but a messy one. Did you fall in the mud?" Isla knelt, a tentative smile forming. "Something like that, sweetie. Your dress is pretty too, those butterflies on it." Lily beamed, twirling. "Daddy made it. He's the best maker ever." While Leo unloaded the dollhouse in the living room, Isla wandered into the kitchen, her composure cracking. The weight of the day hit her, fleeing the wedding, the betrayal, the fear. Tears welled as she gripped the counter. Lily noticed, her small brow furrowing. Without a word, she scampered to her room and returned with a tiny wooden bird, carved with delicate feathers. "Here," she said, pressing it into Isla's hand. "This is my magic bird. It makes sad go away. Daddy made it for me when I was sad about Mommy." Isla's breath caught. The bird was simple yet exquisite, warm from Lily's pocket. "Thank you, Lily. It's beautiful." She held it close, a tear slipping free. In that innocent gesture, a bridge formed, child to stranger, heart to heart. Leo watched from the doorway, his protective instincts stirring. This runaway bride wasn't just passing through, she was weaving into their lives, one tender moment at a time. Dinner was humble but hearty. Leo's famous spaghetti with meatballs, garlic bread, and a salad from the garden. The table was set with mismatched plates, a testament to life's imperfections. Lily chattered non-stop, regaling Isla with tales of school and her imaginary adventures. "You're an artist?" Lily asked, eyes wide as Isla doodled on a napkin, a quick sketch of a bird in flight. Isla laughed softly. "I used to be. Grew up with paints and canvases everywhere. My family had a big house with a whole room for art." Leo raised an eyebrow, sensing the slip. "Sounds fancy. We keep it simple here. No big houses, just big hearts." He didn't press, but curiosity simmered. As they cleared plates, Isla spotted a faded photo on the mantel. Leo, younger and beaming, with a woman who shared his warm smile, cradling newborn Lily. "Clara." Isla's expression softened with empathy. "She looks like she was full of life," Isla said quietly, as Lily scampered off to play. Leo paused, drying a dish. "She was. Cancer took her 3 years ago. Hit fast. Lily was too young to remember much, but I make sure she knows her mom through stories." "I'm sorry," Isla whispered, her own pain echoing his. "Loss like that. It changes everything." "Yeah," Leo nodded, his voice rough. "But we keep going. For her." The moment hung heavy, whispers of pasts intertwining. What ghosts haunted Isla? The mystery deepened, pulling them closer in the quiet evening light. Thunder rumbled like distant artillery as night fell, the sky unleashing a torrent that rattled the windows. Power flickered out, plunging the house into shadow lit only by emergency candles. Lily, tucked in bed, slept soundly, but Isla paced the living room, her face pale. "You okay?" Leo asked, emerging from checking the generator. Isla jumped, breath shallow. "Storms. They remind me of bad times. My father, he'd lock me in during arguments. Felt like the world was ending." Panic edged her words, hands trembling. Leo guided her to the couch, his touch gentle. "Hey, breathe. You're safe here." As lightning cracked, she flinched, and he shared his own vulnerability. "After Clara died, I had nights like this. Felt like the storm was inside me. But I learned to ride it out, for Lily." Isla met his eyes, vulnerability cracking her walls. "I ran from a wedding that was a cage. My father arranged it for business. The groom, he was cruel. I couldn't breathe there." Leo squeezed her hand. "You did the right thing. Running takes guts." In the storm's fury, secrets spilled like rain, forging a bond in shared scars. As the tempest eased, so did their fears, leaving a quiet intimacy that promised more than shelter. It hinted at home. Rain lingered in the air, the storm's aftermath leaving Willow Creek damp and glistening under a gray dawn. Inside Leo Maxwell's cozy home, Isla sat on the guest room's creaky bed, her fingers tracing the wooden bird Lily had given her. Sleep had been elusive, haunted by a vivid nightmare that dragged her back to the gilded cage she'd fled. In the dream, she stood at the altar of a cavernous cathedral, her father's shadow looming. Mr. Thorne, a real estate titan with eyes like cold steel, gripped her arm, his voice a low growl. "You will marry him, Isla. This secures our future." The groom, a man with a smile as sharp as a blade, waited. She'd bolted awake, heart pounding, the memory of her escape raw, running through the estate's gardens, tearing her dress, stealing a car, and driving until it sputtered out on that dusty road where Leo found her. Downstairs, the scent of pancakes pulled her from her thoughts. Leo was at the stove, flipping a golden stack, while Lily colored at the kitchen table. "Morning," he said, glancing over with a warmth that steadied her. "You look like you fought a bear in your sleep." Isla forced a smile, tucking a strand of auburn hair behind her ear. "Just ghosts," she murmured, sitting across from Lily. The girl slid a crayon drawing her way, a stick-figure princess with a bird. "That's you," Lily declared. "You're brave, like in my stories." Leo set a plate before Isla, his gaze lingering. "You okay? You were tossing and turning when I checked the house last night." She hesitated, the weight of her secret pressing. "I dreamed about why I ran," she admitted, voice low so Lily wouldn't hear. "My father, he arranged a marriage to a man I barely knew. It wasn't love, it was a contract. I couldn't do it." Leo's jaw tightened, but his tone stayed gentle. "Sounds like a prison, not a wedding. You're here now. That's what matters." He slid a mug of coffee her way, their fingers brushing, a fleeting spark. The moment held a promise of safety, but also a question. How long could she hide before her past caught up? The hook lingered as Lily's laughter filled the room, a fragile bubble of hope. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the windows, painting the house in warm hues. Isla, restless, offered to help with chores, needing to keep her hands busy. In the cluttered garage, she spotted a dusty easel and a box of old paints, Clara's, untouched since her passing. "Mind if I?" Isla asked, gesturing to the supplies. Leo shrugged, intrigued. "Go for it. Been a while since anyone used those." Isla set up in the backyard, the rolling hills of Willow Creek stretching before her. With a brush in hand, she transformed a blank canvas into a vivid landscape, golden fields under a stormy sky, a lone tree bending but unbroken. Her strokes were confident, raw, telling a story of resilience. Lily watched, mesmerized, perched on a stool. "You're like a magic painter," she gasped. "Can I try?" Isla handed her a brush, guiding her small hand to add a bright yellow sun. "You're a natural, Lily." The girl's joy was infectious, and for the first time in months, Isla felt a flicker of purpose. Leo joined them, wiping sawdust from his hands. "That's incredible," he said, studying the painting. "You ever think about selling these? The town's market is tomorrow. Folks go nuts for this." Isla's eyes widened, a mix of excitement and fear. "I haven't painted for anyone but myself in years. My father, he said it was a waste of time." Her voice wavered, but Leo's steady presence grounded her. "Then show him he's wrong," he said simply. "You've got a gift, Isla. Share it." Lily piped up, waving a new drawing. "Look, Isla's a superhero painter." The sketch showed Isla in a cape, wielding a paintbrush like a sword. Laughter broke the tension, but the idea took root. Could she reclaim this piece of herself? The market loomed as a chance to step into the light, but also a risk of being seen. Willow Creek's Saturday market buzzed with life, stalls brimming with homemade jams, fresh produce, and handcrafted trinkets. Isla's booth, a simple table under a striped canopy, displayed 3 of her paintings, each a window into her soul, stormy skies, resilient trees, and hints of hope in vibrant colors. Leo and Lily helped set up, the latter proudly handing out flyers she'd decorated with crayons. By noon, a crowd gathered. "These are stunning," a woman gushed, buying a canvas. "It's like you've painted my heart." Others nodded, drawn to the emotion in Isla's work. She blushed, unused to praise, but Leo's encouraging nod kept her grounded. "Told you," he whispered, winking. Lily, ever the entrepreneur, tugged at sleeves, chirping, Buy my friend's art. It's magic. Sales piled up, and Isla's smile grew genuine, her confidence blooming. But as the market wound down, a man in a sleek jacket lingered too long, his camera clicking discreetly. "Just a tourist," he said when Leo noticed, but his city accent and sharp eyes raised hackles. He was a reporter from the Evergreen Post, passing through, and Isla's face, captured mid-laugh, was now a digital snapshot headed for print. As he slipped away, Isla's stomach twisted. "Leo," she said, voice low, "I think I need to tell you more about why I ran." The crowd's buzz faded into a tense hum. Her past was no longer a distant shadow, it was closing in, and the photo could lead it straight to her doorstep. Back at the house, Isla's unease lingered. While Lily napped, Leo led her to a locked shed behind the garage, Clara's old studio. "Thought you might want to see this," he said, unlocking the door. Inside, dust motes danced in slants of light, illuminating canvases stacked against walls. Clara's paintings were vivid, emotional, stormy landscapes and resilient figures, eerily similar to Isla's own. Isla's breath caught. "She painted like she was pouring out her soul," she whispered, touching a canvas of a woman standing against a gale. "It's like looking at my own work." Leo nodded, his voice thick. Clara saw the world through her heart. Cancer took her before she could finish these. "I couldn't bear to move them." He paused, watching Isla. "You remind me of her, not just the art, but the fire in you." Isla's eyes glistened. "I lost that fire for a long time. My father, he controlled everything, my art, my life. Painting here feels like finding myself again." She turned to him, vulnerable. "But that photo at the market, it could ruin everything." Leo's hand rested on her shoulder. "Then tell me what we're up against. I'm not letting you face it alone." The studio, a shrine to Clara's spirit, became a sanctuary for their shared resolve. But the past wasn't just a memory, it was a living threat, and its shadow was growing longer. In a glass-walled office atop Evergreen's tallest skyscraper, Victor Thorne sat behind a mahogany desk, his fingers drumming as he stared at the Evergreen Post. The headline was mundane, but the photo, a small-town market scene, held his runaway daughter's face. Isla's smile, radiant and free, mocked him. "She thinks she can disappear," he muttered, his voice like gravel. He summoned Marcus, his head of security, a man built like a fortress with eyes that missed nothing. "Find her," Thorne ordered, tossing the paper. "Bring her back. No excuses." Marcus nodded, his silence more menacing than words. He'd tracked targets across continents for Thorne, a man whose empire was built on ruthlessness as much as real estate. By evening, Marcus was in Willow Creek, his black SUV blending into the town's quiet streets. He asked questions at the market, showing Isla's photo, his presence chilling vendors who'd admired her art. Meanwhile, at Leo's, Isla finally confessed the full weight of her escape. "My father, he's not just rich. He's dangerous." The marriage was to merge his empire with another's. "I was a pawn. If he finds me, he won't just drag me back. He'll destroy anyone in his way." Leo's face hardened, but his voice was steady. "He's not getting you. Or us." Lily, overhearing, hugged Isla tightly. "We're your team now," she said, fierce for a 7-year-old. As night fell, headlights flashed outside, a stranger's car creeping past. Marcus was here, and the hunt had begun. The question burned. Could they outrun a predator who never failed? The air in Leo Maxwell's small living room was thick with tension, the flickering light of a single lamp casting long shadows on the walls. Outside, Willow Creek slept under a starless sky, but inside, Isla's confession hung like a storm cloud. Her father, Victor Thorne, wasn't just a controlling patriarch. He was a titan whose influence stretched like a web, ensnaring anyone who defied him. His head of security, Marcus, was in town, his presence confirmed by the sleek black SUV spotted near the market. Isla's hands trembled as she clutched the wooden bird Lily had given her, its carved feathers a fragile anchor. Leo paced, his carpenter's hands flexing as if itching to build a solution. "We can't stay here," he said, voice low but resolute. "If this Marcus guy's as good as you say, he'll find us by morning." Isla's eyes, wide with fear, met his. "I'm so sorry, Leo. I never meant to drag you and Lily into this." He stopped, crouching to her level. You didn't drag us. We chose to let you in. Now we're in this together. His hazel eyes held hers, steady and unyielding. But we need a plan. Fast. Lily, curled on the couch in her pajamas, piped up, her voice small but fierce. We can hide, like in my adventure books. Somewhere super secret. Leo managed a half-smile, ruffling her curls. Smart girl. I know a place. He turned to Isla. My dad's old hunting cabin, deep in the woods. It's off the grid, hard to find. We can lay low there until we figure out our next move. Isla nodded, swallowing hard. But Marcus, he's relentless. He'll track us. Then we move tonight, Leo said, already grabbing a duffel bag. Pack light. Lily, get your backpack, only the essentials. As they scrambled to gather supplies, blankets, food, a flashlight, Isla hesitated, gripping Leo's arm. Why are you doing this? You could turn me away, keep Lily safe. He looked at her, his expression softening. Because you're not just some runaway. You're part of us now. And I don't abandon family. The words hit Isla like a warm wave, but the urgency of their situation snapped her back. They loaded the truck under cover of darkness, the engine's low rumble the only sound as they slipped out of Willow Creek, Marcus's shadow looming closer. Would the cabin be their sanctuary, or a trap? The old pickup truck rattled along a winding forest road, its headlights slicing through the pitch-black night. Lily slept in the back seat, clutching her stuffed rabbit, while Isla stared out the window, the torn wedding dress replaced by one of Leo's oversized flannels and jeans. The silence between her and Leo was heavy, broken only by the occasional crackle of gravel under the tires. You ever been on the run before? Leo asked, keeping his eyes on the road. Isla's laugh was bitter. Not like this. Growing up, running meant sneaking out to paint in secret. My father had cameras everywhere. Mansion, cars, even my art studio. This, she gestured to the dark woods. This is freedom and terror all at once. Leo nodded, understanding more than he let on. After Clara died, I ran in my own way. Threw myself into work, building things, to outrun the grief. Didn't work. Lily pulled me back. He glanced at his daughter in the rearview mirror, a flicker of worry crossing his face. Isla's voice softened. She's lucky to have you. I never had that, a parent who saw me as more than a bargaining chip. Their conversation was cut short by a distant flash of headlights in the side mirror. Leo's grip tightened on the wheel. That's not good, he muttered, accelerating. The road narrowed, trees closing in like sentinels. Isla's heart raced as she twisted to look back, but the lights vanished, then reappeared, closer. It's him, she whispered, panic rising. Marcus. Hold on, Leo said, veering onto a barely visible dirt path. The truck jostled, branches scraping its sides. Lily stirred, murmuring, Are we there yet? Isla shushed her gently, forcing a calm she didn't feel. They drove for what felt like hours, the pursuing lights fading but never fully gone. When the path ended at a clearing, Leo cut the engine, plunging them into silence. We walk from here, he said. The cabin was close, but so was their hunter. Every rustle in the woods felt like a threat, pulling them deeper into the chase. The cabin emerged from the dawn mist like a forgotten relic, its weathered logs blending into the dense forest. Tucked in a valley surrounded by towering pines, it was a fortress of solitude, Leo's father's retreat, untouched for years. Inside, it smelled of cedar and thyme, with a stone fireplace, a sagging couch, and a small kitchen stocked with canned goods. Leo lit a fire, the crackle easing the chill in their bones. This is perfect, Isla said, setting down her bag. She wandered to a window, gazing at the untouched wilderness. It's like the world can't find us here. Leo grunted, unloading supplies. That's the idea. No roads, no signals. Just us and the woods. He showed Lily a bunk bed in the corner, her eyes lighting up despite the exhaustion. Your castle, milady, he teased, coaxing a giggle. As they settled in, Isla found a sketchpad in her bag and began drawing the view outside, a river winding through trees, sunlight breaking through clouds. The act grounded her, a reminder of the freedom she'd reclaimed. I could stay here forever, she murmured, half to herself. Leo sat beside her, watching her sketch. You're good at finding beauty in tough spots. Clara was like that too. His voice held a quiet reverence, and Isla felt the ghost of his late wife in the room, not as a rival but a bridge. But the peace was fleeting. As night fell, a low hum broke the silence, a drone, its red light blinking above the trees. Marcus had found their trail. Isla's pencil snapped in her hand. He's here, she whispered, the cabin no longer a haven but a fragile refuge in a tightening net. The drone's hum faded, but the threat lingered like a heartbeat. Leo grabbed a rifle from the cabin's closet, his movements calm but deliberate. Stay inside, he told Isla and Lily, stepping onto the porch. The forest was alive with sounds, owls, wind, the snap of twigs. He scanned the trees, his knowledge of the terrain his only advantage. Isla, unable to stay still, joined him, whispering, "We can't just wait for him to come to us." Before Leo could respond, a figure emerged from the shadows. Not Marcus, but an older man, wiry and weathered, with a gray beard and a shotgun slung over his shoulder. "You folks lost," he called, his voice gruff but not hostile. Leo lowered his rifle slightly. "Silas, what the hell you doing out here?" Silas, a hermit who'd lived in these woods for decades, squinted at them. "Heard a drone. Don't like machines sniffing around my land." "You in trouble?" Isla stepped forward, her voice steady despite her fear. "Someone's after me. A man named Marcus, works for my father. They're dangerous." Silas's eyes narrowed, recognition flickering. "Thorne's man. Knew him years back. He strong-armed folks for your daddy's land deals. Slimy bastard." He spat on the ground, then gestured to a hidden trail. "I got a way out, old mining path, leads to the next county. But you gotta move now." Leo hesitated, glancing at Lily, who'd crept to the door. "You trust him?" Isla asked. "Don't got a choice," Leo said. Silas's knowledge was their lifeline, but his cryptic mention of Thorne's past hinted at secrets that could change everything. As they prepared to follow, the drone's hum returned, closer now, a predator circling its prey. The mining path was a treacherous ribbon of dirt and rock, winding through dense forest under a canopy that blocked the moon. Silas led the way, his lantern casting eerie shadows. Lily clung to Isla's hand, whispering, "Is he a wizard?" Isla smiled despite the tension, squeezing her hand. "Maybe a little." As they moved, Silas spoke low to Leo. "Thorne's not just a rich man. Years ago, he forced folks off their land for his projects. Threats, bribes, worse. I lost my farm to him. Marcus was his muscle then. If he's after your girl, he won't stop." Leo's jaw clenched. "Then we make him stop." He glanced at Isla, her face pale but determined. "What's Thorne's weak spot?" Silas smirked. "His pride. He keeps a ledger, proof of every dirty deal. Marcus carries a copy, always. Get that, you got him." They reached a cave, a temporary shelter. Inside, Silas revealed a hidden stash of supplies, maps, a radio, even a flare gun. "Use this path, stay low. I'll throw Marcus off your scent." His eyes softened as he looked at Lily. "Keep that kid safe." As they parted, Silas handed Isla a crumpled photo from his wallet, a younger him on a farm, before Thorne's greed took it. "You're fighting my fight too," he said. The cave's darkness swallowed them as they moved deeper, Marcus's drone a distant threat. Silas's secret and the ledger were their new weapons, but the chase was far from over. Could they outsmart a hunter armed with Thorne's power? The cave's damp chill seeped into their bones as Leo, Isla, and Lily huddled in its shadows, the faint glow of Silas's lantern their only light. The distant hum of Marcus's drone had faded, but the threat of Victor Thorne's relentless head of security loomed like a storm on the horizon. Silas's revelation about the ledger, a record of Thorne's illegal dealings, ignited a spark of hope. If they could get it, they could turn the hunter into the hunted. Leo, his carpenter's hand steady despite the stakes, outlined a plan. "We lure Marcus into the open," he said, voice low. "Use the forest against him. He's city muscle, this is our terrain." Isla, clutching the photo Silas had given her, nodded. "He's methodical, but he's not invincible. If we can isolate him, I can talk to him. He's not loyal to my father by choice. Lily, tucked against Isla, whispered, like a trap in my adventure books? We're the heroes, right? Leo smiled, kissing her forehead. Damn right, Munchkin. He turned to Silas, who'd stayed to guide them. You know these woods better than anyone. Where do we set this up? Silas pointed to a ravine a mile west, dense with underbrush and crisscrossed by narrow paths. Ambush spot. He'll follow your trail, but you control the ground. They spent the morning rigging the area, tripwires from fishing line, piles of loose rocks to slow pursuit, and a false trail leading to a dead-end cliff. Leo's ingenuity shone, his hands crafting traps as deftly as he'd built Lily's dollhouse. As dusk fell, they baited the trap. Isla left a deliberate clue, a torn piece of her flannel shirt snagged on a branch near the ravine. Marcus arrived, his flashlight cutting through the twilight. Leo signaled from a hidden perch, and Silas triggered a rockslide, disorienting Marcus. Leo moved like a shadow, disarming him with a swift tackle, pinning him without a shot fired. You're done, Leo growled, binding Marcus's wrists with rope. The victory was swift, Leo's quiet strength outmatching the city predator. But the real battle was just beginning. Isla stepped forward, ready to face the man who'd hunted her. Marcus, bruised but unbowed, glared up at Isla, his steely demeanor cracking under the weight of defeat. The ravine was silent save for the rustle of leaves, Leo standing guard while Silas kept Lily out of sight. Isla knelt, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. You don't have to do this, Marcus. I know my father. He's using you, just like he used me. Marcus's jaw twitched, but he said nothing, his eyes darting to the ledger tucked inside his jacket. Isla pressed on, recalling Silas's story. You worked for him when he took Silas's farm. How many others lost everything because of his threats? You're not like him. You have a family, don't you? The mention of his family broke something in Marcus. His shoulders sagged, and he spoke, voice hoarse. He's got my sister's medical bills. Said he'd ruin us if I didn't bring you back. He pulled out the ledger, its pages heavy with Thorne's crimes, bribery, coercion, land theft. This is everything. Every deal he buried. I kept it as insurance. Isla took the ledger, her hands trembling with the weight of its power. Help us stop him, she said. Not for me, for your sister, for everyone he's hurt. Marcus hesitated, then nodded. I'll testify. But he's got eyes everywhere. You'll need more than this to bring him down. The confession was a turning point, a villain's mask slipping to reveal a man trapped by loyalty and fear. Leo clapped his shoulder, a silent acknowledgement of his choice. As they slipped back into the forest, the ledger felt like a ticking bomb, freedom within reach, but only if they could wield it before Thorne struck back. The city of Evergreen loomed like a glass and steel fortress as Isla, Leo, and Lily approached, the ledger hidden in a backpack. Marcus, now an uneasy ally, had given them a plan. Deliver the ledger to a trusted journalist at the Evergreen Post, the same paper that had unknowingly exposed Isla's location. They met Sarah Chen, a tenacious reporter with a reputation for taking down giants, in a crowded diner on the city's edge. Isla slid the ledger across the table, her voice steady. This is my father's empire, every dirty secret. He's hurt too many people, including me. Sarah's eyes widened as she flipped through the pages. Dates, names, payoffs, all meticulously recorded. This is dynamite, she said. But Thorne's got lawyers like sharks. You sure you're ready for the fallout? Isla glanced at Leo, who squeezed her hand under the table, and Lily, coloring on a napkin, oblivious to the stakes. I'm done running, Isla said. Publish it. Within days, the story broke like a tidal wave. Headlines screamed, Thorne Empire built on corruption. The ledger's evidence was ironclad, land grabs, bribes to officials, even threats of violence. Protests erupted outside Thorne's skyscraper, and the authorities moved in. Victor Thorne was arrested in his own office, his empire crumbling as cameras flashed. Isla watched the news from a motel room, Lily asleep in her lap, Leo's arm around her. You did it, he said, pride in his voice. But Isla's victory was bittersweet. I lost my family to gain my freedom, she whispered, tears falling. Was it worth it? Leo tilted her chin up. You've got us now. That's family enough. The screen showed Thorn's fall, but Isla's heart was already turning toward a new beginning, one she'd fight to keep. Months later, Willow Creek felt like home. Isla, no longer a fugitive, had transformed Clara's old studio into her own, its walls lined with vibrant canvases. She taught art to local children, her classes filled with laughter and color. Lily, her star pupil, painted wild, joyful scenes, often featuring a family of 3. The Ledger's fallout had dismantled Thorn's empire, and with Marcus's testimony, he faced years in prison. Isla was free, but the scars of her past lingered. One evening, as the sun set over the hills, Leo found her in the studio, sketching a portrait of Lily. "You've changed this place," he said, leaning against the doorframe. "It's alive again." Isla smiled, setting down her pencil. "You and Lily gave me a reason to stay. I was running from everything, but I found something worth staying for." Their eyes met, a quiet understanding passing between them. Their bond, forged in danger and trust, had deepened into love, slow, steady, and undeniable. Lily burst in, waving a flyer. "Isla, you're gonna teach at the school too, right? Everyone loves your art." Isla laughed, pulling her into a hug. The studio, once a shrine to loss, was now a beacon of hope, its colors reflecting a life reclaimed. But as Isla looked at Leo, a new question stirred. Could they build a future as strong as their past was fragile? 3 years later, Willow Creek's town square buzzed with a summer festival, banners fluttering and music drifting through the air. Isla, now a celebrated local artist, unveiled her latest work, a massive canvas depicting Leo, Lily, and herself standing before their home, surrounded by wildflowers and sunlight. The crowd cheered, but Isla's eyes were on her family. Leo, her husband of a year, his smile as warm as the day they met. Lily, now 10, tossing petals as their flower girl in a memory that still sparkled. The wooden bird, Lily's gift from their first meeting, sat on a shelf in their home, a symbol of their beginning. At the festival, Lily tugged Isla's hand. "You painted us perfect," she said, her blue eyes shining. "We're a team forever, right?" "Forever," Isla promised, her voice thick with emotion. Leo wrapped an arm around her, whispering, "You made us whole, Isla." The portrait captured more than their faces. It held their journey, from a runaway bride on a dusty road to a family forged in love and resilience. As fireworks lit the sky, Isla leaned into Leo, Lily between them, their laughter mingling with the crowds. The past was a shadow, but their future glowed bright, a story of redemption and home, painted in strokes of courage and love. The final image lingered, the wooden bird, small but enduring, a reminder of the day a chance encounter became a happily ever after earned. The end.